A car is traveling 72 miles per hour on the interstate. How many feet per second is the car traveling? In this problem, we've been told that a car is traveling at 72 miles per hour. That's a rate. Remember, a rate is a ratio of two quantities that are measured in different units. Here we have 72 miles per hour. We can write our rate like this: 72 miles over 1 hour. Perfect. Now we want to figure out how many feet per second the car is traveling. Currently, we have a rate in miles per hour. We need to change this to feet per second. That means we need to change miles into feet and hours into seconds. In order to do this, we're going to need to multiply by two conversion factors, since we need to change the numerator and the denominator of this rate. Remember, a conversion factor is a number that we use to convert a quantity from its current measurement to a different measurement. Here, we need to figure out how we're going to change these units. So let's take a look at that first and figure out the units that are going to be associated with our conversion factors. So let's just take a look at the units that are involved in our original rate. We currently have miles over hours. And again, we want to change miles to feet and hours to seconds. First, let's focus on changing miles to feet. Then we'll worry about the hours. In order to change miles to feet, we're going to need to multiply. But we want to remove miles and replace it with feet. Since miles is currently in the numerator, we could put the unit of miles in the denominator. That would cancel out the unit of miles. And we're trying to replace miles with feet, so we can put feet in the numerator. And look at what happens if we multiply by feet over miles. The unit of miles cancels out, and we're just left with feet in the numerator. In the denominator, we still have hours. So now we've changed miles to feet. Now let's focus on changing hours into seconds. We want to follow that same process. Here, since hours is currently in the denominator, to remove it, we need to put hours in the numerator here. And we want to replace that with seconds. So we put seconds in the denominator. When we multiply, the unit of hours cancels out, and we're left with feet in the numerator and seconds in the denominator. So here, if we have miles over hours, and we multiply by feet over miles, then hours over seconds, we will get feet over seconds. We now know the units that we need to involve in our conversion factors. So let's take a look at the two conversion factors we're going to be using. One of our conversion factors will deal with feet and miles. To figure out this conversion factor, we need to figure out the relationship between feet and miles. Well, there's 5,280 feet in 1 mile. And in order to write the conversion factor properly for this problem, we need to write it as feet over miles. So we write 5,280 feet over 1 mile. Perfect. Now let's write down the other conversion factor. Here, we need hours and seconds. So what's their relationship? Well, there's 3,600 seconds in 1 hour. And for this problem, we need to write it as hours over seconds. So we write 1 hour over 3,600 seconds. And now we have our two conversion factors. We need to take our original rate and multiply it by both of these conversion factors. So we start out with 72 miles per 1 hour. Then we multiply by the conversion factor 5,280 feet over 1 mile. And then we multiply by the other conversion factor, 1 hour over 3,600 seconds. Now, since we're multiplying throughout, it doesn't matter the order we multiply in. But we need to make sure to include our units. Because remember, we're trying to change from miles per hour into feet per second. So we need to pay close attention to the units. So let's look at these units first. Here in the numerator, we have miles. And here in the denominator, we have miles. These units of miles will cancel each other out, just like we wanted. And the same thing goes for the unit of hours. There are hours in the numerator and the denominator, so we can cancel those out as well. Then we multiply in the numerator and the denominator. In the numerator, we have 72 times 5,280 feet times 1. In the denominator, we have 1 times 3,600 seconds. And now we want to simplify. When we take 72 times 5,280 feet times 1, we get 380,160 feet. In the denominator, 1 times 3,600 seconds is 3,600 seconds. And now we have feet over seconds. But remember, our problem wants us to find how many feet per second the car is traveling. So we need to have 1 second in the denominator, not 3,600. In order to have 1 second in the denominator, we need to take 380,160 divided by 3,600. When we do, we get 105.6. So this simplifies to 105.6 feet over 1 second. We could also write it like this: 105.6 feet per second. And now we have the rate that we were looking for. If a car is traveling 72 miles per hour, another way of saying that is 105.6 feet per second.